Greetings and welcome back to Silver Tears Tarot. So, we're going to do another one from my inbox. I have a note from a viewer who says they think of their person an awful lot, and honestly, that this relationship has really hit them in a way that's a little different from what's expected. So, if they were to see this pattern with somebody else, it probably wouldn't play out this way. They probably wouldn't feel so attached still. So they were wondering if their person thinks about them this much too. And so that's what we're going to look into. Of course, it is going to be a general reading for the collective. But if you're new here, you might not yet know if you're part of the collective. So the fact is, it won't resonate with everybody. However, if it does resonate with you, and particularly if it really resonates with you, maybe go back and look at some of the older videos and see if you might want to subscribe and become part of this collective, because all of these readings have been very much connected here lately. And um, so it might be that there are some additional messages out there for you. So we're going to look into whether your person thinks about you as much as you're thinking of them. But we're going to start first with the energy between you. And I'm going to do this in the format of that soulmate snapshot that I've been doing sometimes here lately. So we've got the Nine of Cups. All right. So finally, somebody knows what they want. All right, so we've got that Nine of Cups, and we keep seeing in these previous readings, the Nine of Cups has been coming out quite a bit. It was really coming out for a while there, talking about not just the fact that this is wish fulfillment and, that you are your person's wish fulfillment, but they have recently figured out that what they thought made them happy is not really ultimately what turns out to make them happy. So, this is a reiteration of that, only it's a shared energy because it's both of you owning the realization that you are each other's wish fulfillment, or that the other person is your wish fulfillment. And for them, this is a big deal. So they're a little bit more reluctant to accept that, or to think it, out loud in their own mind. It's something they would rather run away from. Let's get some clarity here. So we've got the Five of Cups. Clarity is the name of the game. So it's the Five of Cups in reverse, which is a much more balanced energy than sometimes the Five of Cups in the upright is very it's very regretful and kind of a sad energy, but it also is not taking the full picture into account because there's a lot of possibility along with the sadness. Here, when we have it in the reverse like this, it's taking both the sadness and the happiness into account. It's a much more balanced feeling, and if that's in the energy between the two of you, that's very positive, especially with this realization that you are their wish fulfillment. So we've also got the Queen of Swords. This is, I just saw this similar feeling from the Queen of Swords in reverse in a reading I did yesterday. This is regret for having made a rash decision. However, they are not yet in a position to rectify said rash decision. Let's see what else is going on here. So this Five of Cups, it's coming out in the reverse, but they're not done yet. So we've got the Three of Pentacles. That's a really cooperative, things are going your way sort of energy, but we've also got the Three of Swords, which is a card of heartbreak and sadness. And so as much as it feels like things are starting to kind of line up and fly right a little bit more with this Nine of Cups and this realization of here's what I really feel that I need. Here's what I really feel that I want. This sadness is real and it hasn't yet gone away. So both of you are still feeling a fair amount of this sadness while having the realization that the two of you worked really well together in a lot of ways. So it may be that you had some arguments or that you have ended at an impasse, but there was a well-oiled machine sort of experience in there before any difficulty will have come out. And some of you, I can tell no difficulty ever even came out. They just ghosted out and didn't. And then now they're regretting the harsh ending, the quick ending. So there is a change in perspective here, but it looks like it's not yet done happening. Let's see what else wants to come out for this. So we've got the Princess of Swords. This is about being willing to jump out and do something that's a little bit new, but it's being worked. So this card that's coming out with it works directly against it. This is that impasse that you may not feel like you can get past. Um, It's a card of in the upright. Well, in any case, it's a card of travel, and sometimes it's a card of coming to a crossroads. So this is really that impasse. I'll use that term again. It really is that impasse. It really is the thing that they can't get across the bridge. They can't get past. There is something that it's more of an emotional issue that it's hard to find that common ground in between, but because of this, that's what's blocking up the ability to move forward in a decisive and positive way. And this is maybe even what's blocking the communication. So there is a sense of balance, a hard won balance that it's a little bit complicated because, and I'm going to do this one with the world card. So the world card is the happy ending, the end all be all. The balance is that they're feeling like you're this end all be all. You're this happy ending. You would be the end of a very successful cycle, as it were. However, it would also bring them this balance that they seek, and the more they grasp after it, the more they realize they can't quite get to it. So there's this sense that you would be the one that brings both of them. And they're also associating with, okay, we're done. They're also associating you with their, ability to reach into their intuition. So both of you, your intuition has been heightened during this experience. So both of you are able to kind of feel each other in the physical realm, both in the spiritual realm and if they're around in the physical realm. But what we've seen is there's not been as much of them in the physical realm in a lot of cases. Some people are completely in separation. Some people are in different types of separation where the communication is very bad, but they're able to actually, physically see their person. Maybe they see them at work, they see them across the room, they can't really communicate. But there has definitely been this change in the spiritual realm, and the two of you are very much associating one another with it. So if you're experiencing that, just know that your person is feeling it too. So now let's move on to that question of whether they are thinking of you as much as you're thinking of them. And that I thought that was such a great question because it's one of those that it comes out, it peeks out in some of the different readings. Sometimes you can tell that it's like they're squeezing their eyes shut, trying not to have a thought about you. And then some of it they're actually going back and they're doing some thinking, and it seems like it comes and goes. So we've got the 7 of Pentacles, oh, and the 10 of Cups. Okay, so we there is a little bit of that reluctance to think about you because of, again, this regret for having made a decision that they now have a hard time standing behind. They didn't invest. The 7 of Pentacles in the reverse is a card of not having invested. The 10 of Cups in the upright is about, it's that discernment that we keep seeing. So for a while there, we couldn't seem to do a reading without the 9 and or 10 of Cups coming out, whether they were upright, whether they were reversed. And they were typically talking about knowing what it is that you want, figuring out truly what it is that you want. Saw a hefty amount of the 8 of Cups as well, where people were looking for what it was that they wanted. And it was about that trip of looking for it, that journey. But this 10 of Cups is, wow, hold on. I think I found it. It's too good to be true. And it was all about, okay, so get up closer, understand what it is that you're looking at, and then make a decision. But they made a wrong decision, what they would now consider to be a wrong decision. And so this is something that is weighing on them. But that doesn't necessarily tell me how much they're thinking about you, because I can tell it's hanging in their mind, but there's that reluctance too. So we've got the 2 of Cups. Oh man, this is about the partnership between the two of you. Okay, so they know they've made a mistake. They can't get past it. They are thinking about you a lot. Okay, so the Devil card in the upright is a card of something that is controlling you in some way. It can come in many forms. It can come in the form of, I can't stop these obsessive thoughts. I can't stop with a drug or something, that is taking over. Some people, it's workaholism, where that's just an escape. It's a matter of something that is controlling you, that you can't get out from under it. Sometimes it's actually your job, it's actually your work, or it's a family member. In any case, there is something here, and I feel like it's more the obsessive thinking, and so that may be part of why they are reluctant to think about it. So perhaps they can see and feel this partnership, but they don't want to think about it because they we keep seeing that they don't have any choice in this relationship. Hasn't come out in this reading yet, but it's one of those things that creates frustration for them because for whatever reason, some of them don't know how to be vulnerable, don't know how to give and receive love, and that is what has kept them from being able to be successful and made them run away. But it's different for different people. So we've got the strength card. It is this for everyone, however. So the strength card, again, never happens in a vacuum. It is always working against some form of fear. And this fear is kind of really gets in there. So they've got a conflict because they they can't stop thinking about you. They can't stop thinking about you a certain way, but they don't see themselves in a very positive light in that and when they think about you. It's part of what is what's continuing to draw on their fears. They can't stop thinking about the partnership and the impact that it's had, but they feel like they've made a mistake and they don't know how to come back from it. You made them so unbelievably happy that they had to hide. Usually, hiding isn't necessarily what I get out of the Seven of Swords. Usually, so the Seven of Swords is sometimes a card of deception, and it is a little bit that, but it's more the trust, the mistrust piece, and it's not so much of their mistrust of you, although that's what they would have told themselves. It's more a mistrust of themselves that has caused them to turn tail and run away. They have felt less than. Their fear is winning out. This is them feeling less than. This is that emotional dependency that has cropped up that they thought they were over. They thought they were over it, and now they realize they're trapped in. It's like they're trapped in the. They can't stop being close to you. They can't stop thinking about you. Um, let's see what else. So we've got the Empress. They weren't ready for this. And we've got the Lovers. Here's that choice in love. Now, a lot of times we've seen this one come out in reverse, signifying that they felt they didn't have much of a choice. But hopefully now we've seen that some of them are also turning the corner to realize, okay, it's not an easy choice, but it is in fact a choice. So maybe that's part of what's happening here, but it's not making them think about you any less. And it creates pain for them when they do think about you because it's not yet over. And it's one of these things where they can't quite get away from the change that needs to occur. So the Tower card is a significant change. It's usually an emotional upheaval that makes it very difficult to ignore the message that comes along with the Tower. However, you've got somebody who is um, more prizing their day-to-day balance than they are able to open themselves up to the learning. So this is again that resistance to think about the situation, the resistance to think about you because they want to maintain this balance. They want to be able to maintain this I don't really care sort of vibe. This is an I don't really care sort of vibe, and that's what they want to look like outwardly, but they can't truly pull it off on the inside. In fact, the more they try to pull it off outwardly, the more they fall to whatever it is that's controlling them. They have figured out what it is that they want. They have figured it out. It's not too good to be true. It's real. And then they didn't invest. And so now they're trying to figure out, have I waited too long to come back and have this conversation? And so that's kind of the feel of the overthinking that I get here. Have I waited too long? I can't stop thinking about it, but I can't not go have this conversation because this person made me so happy, but I'm much more balanced if I don't have the conversation. And yet they're really not, because they have this desire to make things right and to have this balance. They really want that big broad balance that they feel like you bring. But right now they're settling for this lesser balance that happens on a day-to-day basis because they're able to kind of keep it at bay. So they're very much trapped. And so it's a matter of, and we've seen that, like I said, in previous readings, but this is interesting. It's a matter of them not being able to stop thinking about you, but trying desperately to do so. So, um, let's take a look into, what you can be doing with this, because like I said when I was checking things out over here, some of these people you can't even get in contact with. So they are they're constantly thinking about you. They're realizing that they are magnetized toward you, but they can't seem to want to get in touch because they're afraid of what's going to happen. And we've seen that play out in reading after reading after reading. We did a pop up reading about it a couple of days ago, that I think it was a couple of days ago, that kind of dealt with this subject as well. And it's this strange conflict that they have between being able to reach out and or not being able to reach out, and yet wanting to have that resolution. So let's take a look at what you can be doing, because this is kind of a variation on that question. Well, how can I reassure my person that it'll be okay? Remember, we saw that reassurance had to come from someone other than you. It had to come from, it couldn't come from you. It could come from them. It could come from another place, but it couldn't come through you. And so it was like, well, what could I be doing? And so we're going to sort of ask that question again, only we're going to ask it in the context of the way that they're thinking about you and the way that you're thinking about them, because you may also be reluctant to think about them quite this much. You might be thinking, I'd rather find some closure. So, but it's not always obvious how you go about doing that. So that's what we're going to look at. What exactly would be helpful to you as you're working through this? Um, Hopefully to get you some good answers, because if this is the only reading you ever see from me, we at least want to give you that. All right, so we've got the Seven of Wands, and we do want that. The Eight of Cups in reverse, both reversed, coming out for you here. And so we saw we talked about the Eight of Cups earlier, and how we have continually seen it talking about go off in search of the thing that you want. When you see it in reverse, it is sometimes, and in this case, definitely a matter of not being able to find exactly what you want, or the thing that lights your soul on fire. And that's another thing we've been seeing in these readings, finding that thing that lights your soul on fire and allowing it to ignite you and bring some of your energy away from what you've been experiencing in this situation. However, it's super difficult to do that when you're not experiencing a solid connection with your higher power and your intuition and your higher self. And I'm not saying that's not happening, but I am saying that any lack of it is what could potentially be getting in your way, as well as this Eight of Cups in the reverse, which is that sense of, I'm okay, so this is going to be similar to what I've said about Eight of Cups in the past, but a little bit different. It's, I think I know what I want now, but I'm not 100% certain. This is that Nine of Cups. This is that wish fulfillment. This is the thing that somebody wants. And so making sure that you are not wandering aimlessly toward it, and instead are going toward it strongly, that's what you're after. And yet it's not super clear how to do that when you don't feel as tied in with your intuition. So, thinking about what it would look like to go toward the thing that makes your soul ignite. One of the pieces of advice that we've seen in the past was to think about stuff you've always wanted to do but never really had the opportunity to do. Think about what hasn't gone well. So, judgment in the reverse is about something not passing judgment, and in fact, you have to pass judgment in order to get to the world. So the tarot is 78 cards, and the first 22 cards are the major arcana. Those are major patterns in our life, okay? And so it's 0 through 21. Those are the 22 cards. And the Judgment card is number 20. The World card is number 21. You can't get to the world, to that happy ending, until you pass judgment. So there's something here that isn't passing judgment, and that's part of what's going to get unlocked here as you start going through finding what truly ignites you. And of course, with the understanding that we've seen in previous readings, if you are doing something positive for yourself, then it is also going to be beneficial for your person. So let's see, we've got the Four of Swords. There is healing that is happening here. You are engaging in a significant amount of healing, but there's something that is holding you back from doing the level of healing that you truly need to do. So, and you're encouraged to not like keep your momentum, not stop your momentum, but to actually quiet your thoughts. Just kind of stop everything and think what is it that truly would excite me, truly makes me happy, what I would maybe be willing to give a try. And be willing to give a try is a significant thing, because sometimes what will set your soul on fire is not what you necessarily expect for it to be. So be prepared for it to take any number of forms, and not necessarily something that you would find to be obvious. But this is about curiosity. So it's a matter of, you've got a fear and and a lack of curiosity that stems from healing that's not yet been done. So continue on what with your healing that you've been doing. So if it's coming to you through meditation or through prayer, continue with that, because there are so many different ways, different forms that you can do it. It'll make you feel less like you're doing the aimless meandering towards the thing that you love, and more like you're actively seeking it. And the act of, in a balanced way, actively seeking it will even help to balance your energy out. And so you're experiencing maybe some form of this as well, with the obsessive thinking, and I can't stop thinking about this union, this partnership. You guys are mirroring each other on a pretty strong basis, except that this fear that I'm feeling in them about the vulnerability and the inability to come forward, I don't feel that so much in your side. It's more, that's what's holding them back. So there's going to be a need to, um, usually the Princess of Cups is about making an apology, but in this case, it's about accepting one. And I'm reminded that you are, one of the things that's going to help you is to be able to open your heart, to be able to give and receive love in equal measure. There is a bit of a delay with, as you are moving towards your goals. It's not necessarily something you aren't doing. Stick with it, because you know that you deserve. At this point, you guys have the self worth to know that you deserve the best. It's that's a fantastic feeling, because it's a little bit of a mixed bag. So let me explain. There's this sense that you have learn some things. You went all the way to the end of the movie, you've seen the end, and you've figured out some things, and you now understand there's no reason to be afraid. This is inevitable. It is coming. There appears to be a delay, but you're going to be fine. So now, though, you've got to go back and kind of watch some of those other scenes in the movie that help to flesh it out and help to fill it out for you. And that's going to be what some of this healing is. It's also going to be part of what starts to loosen things up for you a little bit, allow you to accept love and give and receive. You're okay with giving love, a lot of you, but receiving is a little bit harder. Receiving this apology and truly doing so in whole fashion, like allowing yourself to truly say yes and to accept. It's a hard thing to do. It's a hard thing for a lot of us to do. And so there's something that you're going to have the opportunity to work on, because somewhere here you understand you deserve it. It's just a matter of connecting that self-worth and that feeling of, yes, I deserve this, and the ability to actually handle receiving it when it comes to you. So that's the last card that wants to come out for this, but I do want to grab you an oracle card, um, to just kind of tie everything together and give you a little bit of advice, something else to think about. Okay, so we've got travel. This immediately reminds me of um, this impasse over here. So, oops, I messed up all my cards. Okay, so I talked about with this impasse. This is often a card of travel, but in this case it's more emotional distance that needs to be traveled with the impasse that the two of you are feeling between one another. And this is all about the healing that you are in right now, the experience that you're having right now. The productive pieces of it, which are truly that healing, are going to help you to cover the distance between you and your person from an emotional standpoint. However, the thing to realize here is it's not necessarily that you end up agreeing. It's more that you end up not being as concerned about the disagreement. So you'll come to a place where you feel better about things, they feel better about things, and ultimately, it gets so much better. But right now we're seeing so much of that back and forth energy in them, and ultimately this strength card may be the most important one, because this is about fears winning out over strengths. And so this is why you're not seeing action from them, despite the fact that they know that they have this, they know that they love you. They know that you have this bond and this incredible relationship. This bond. This is an amazing bond. Some describe it as the twin flame dynamic. I am generally reluctant to use terms like that, but I also understand what people mean when they say it. And this is the feeling that you get. It's that strong partnership, but it's a little bit tough to live in, because it does generate this devil energy in this sense of I'm very attracted, but I can't seem to resolve the things that would bring us together. So, in answer to the question, yes, they're thinking of you as much as you're thinking of them, but they are trying not to as much as you might be trying not to. So, I'm going to go ahead and close it here, but thank you so much for joining me for this quick soulmate snapshot, and I'm wishing you the best. I'll see you in the next video.